Nintendo today, by way of a press release onto YouTube, confirmed its next generation video gaming platform, the Nintendo Switch, taking over from the Nintendo current Wii U system. So where are they going in the future? Let's see what they've got coming up. They're going to be taking their handheld division, their console division, merging them and fusing them together, and going forward down one direct line of innovation, because downright Nintendo have to get this one right, because I think if they don't get it right this time, they are going to be done. I mean, they might have enough money in the bank for quite some time, but in terms of their platform, they have not been doing too well the last couple of years, it has to be said. So, is the Switch going to be good? It has to be. In fact, if you live in the UK, a rather interesting term of the name, the word Switch, refers to a bizarre sexual practice, which I'm pretty sure you've seen going out on the Twitter sphere. Switch. It means to switch from being a submissive to a dominant to a submissive. Nintendo has to get this right. It has to stop being spanked and start doing the spanking. They've got some really good innovation going on there. Let's see if Nintendo can really spank the monkey. So the marketing video is a little odd because it features a very American-centric, middle-class, 20-something-year-old student in a nice, swanky studio apartment playing Nintendo's tunic-wearing hero, that is Link, in like Zelda Breath of the Wild. He's got his dog licking on his face, and then basically, so he decides to go to the park with his Nintendo Switch. He obviously jacks his controller on, heads to the park and continues his play. That's really cool. Next video clip that rolls through is another 20-year-old centric student-esque guy in a nice swanky apartment who looks like he's going on holidays, going on a plane trip, and he's sat down and he's playing Skyrim. That's right, Skyrim on a Nintendo console, that's pretty awesome, but more to come on that in just a second. So what he does, he obviously takes his game with him, he then obviously jacks the controllers onto the screen, he then goes on his flight, he then continues to play, and then he obviously goes to another location. I'm assuming this is where he's landed, and then he jacks his controllers into another base station, and then he continues to play on the big screen again. So does this mean you can have more than one base station for your Switch platform? No idea, but that's definitely an interesting question. Also, then you've got Mario Kart 8 in an awkward place.
What, like the back of a Volkswagen?
Sounds like his MO.
Now, whether Nintendo wanted to intentionally put in a Kevin Smith reference, I don't know, but basically, then from there, you've got street basketball players who look like they're actors, in all fairness, look like college-age actors. Like street play doesn't look very real, but they're having some 4-player, 2-console NBA action, which looks kind of cool. You got some geeky socialite-esque girl who's playing the new Mario title. Looks very Mario Galaxy-esque in its visual, even for the couple of seconds that it's on the screen. Mario Galaxy, regardless, even today holds up visually as outstanding as anything that's coming out on the current platforms. It's very visual, very vivid, and very cool. Now, it's a fair showing, of course, these different games in here. You've also got Splatoon pro players playing, checking out some power plays, etching out some plays on the board before going out to a massive crowd and playing some Splatoon. So does that mean Splatoon is going to be a launch title, or is it going to be a key title going towards its launch or a little after? Now, all these different configurations and systems and how the controller can be used are really kind of cool. Nintendo is always about pushing innovation. In the past, whether it's by VR, whether it's by motion controls, all of which changed the industry at their moments in time. Now, when I got my Wii at launch, you know, putting that Wiimote in my hand for the very first time, I felt nothing ever like it. And I'll tell you what, that Christmas, everyone I knew played my Wii. People who never played video games before played my Wii. Playing the likes of tennis, playing the likes of bowling. It was a lot of fun. You know, I'd never seen people engage a system like that before. So can Nintendo trigger that again? I think Nintendo has to. There's a huge market of, you know, I don't want to say secondary gamers, you know, but people who don't play games very often, or people who play games in a different way to the core gamer market. And that's really cool. I think Nintendo still needs to tap that. It definitely does. Now, so remember what I was saying about Skyrim. It's interesting because Bethesda have not confirmed that Skyrim, or even the remastered edition, is coming to the Wii U. Sorry, it's coming to the Switch at all. Which it looks a bit awkward because you've got more than 30 seconds of footage in the trailer. Although the footage is superimposed onto those screens to make it look like someone's playing them, Bethesda have got, well, we're going to support you, but we haven't confirmed any games yet. So it does make Nintendo look a little bit silly, a little bit awkward. And has this happened in the past? Because damn right it has. When the Nintendo Wii U was announced, there was games that were announced at launch. They had this kind of funky trailer. It was very very documentary-esque, with industry leaders from like Ubisoft, EA, a lot of the big developers out there who were talking about how innovative the Wii U was. Now there was games that were featured in that trailer that never came out on the Wii U. And they were the likes of, there was Aliens Colonial Marines, which was not really a big miss really, but there was Metro Last Light, that was pretty cool, came out from THQ, and that was one of the, in fact on the PC that looks incredible. But there was also like Ghost Recon Online, that one never came out either. There was a few other titles too that were shown, never came out, so on Nintendo going, please bring your games to our system, they can run just fine, we want you to play them. But didn't come out. We really hope that Skyrim does come to the platform. But I don't know if you're like me, I played Skyrim from 2011 when the game came out on the PC. You know, I modded the hell out of it, it looks beautiful, and I must have clocked like some 300-400 hours into that game. Do I want to play it again 5 years later, or technically 6 years later, on a new platform? I don't know, maybe not. It's not going to be a system seller. If, however, it was an Elder Scrolls title in the universe of Skyrim, or in the universe of Elder Scrolls and Tamriel, that was a unique experience. That is a selling point for a console, not just another multi-platform game. Now, Nintendo has always been about pushing controller innovation as well as hardware and software innovations. So, if you can remember the NES controller, absolutely legendary. That is the standard controller that kind of encouraged 1,000 different imitators. Went for the SNES controller that everyone still swears by Street Fighter 4. Me, I'm still a Saturn pad guy, I have to say. But Nintendo came out with the old trifecta pad, the Trident. That if you look at it, you go Nintendo. The same with the GameCube controller. It's still played as the standard controller for the likes of Smash Brothers, and still people are still playing current games using those controllers. The Wii, obviously Wiimote, of course, it revolutionized how motion control was done. And of course then the Wii U gamepad I got right here. I liked this, I really do. It's a bit square, but actually it's really kind of cool, because the way I think about this, it's kind of like playing a DS on the big screen. You got one screen here, one screen there, you can switch between them, back and forth, take the game to bed with you, and it's the best TV remote in the house, I have to say. So I like my Wii U gamepad, and so it's kind of like they've gone by this, snap the side off, and you've got your game here. Now Nintendo, a little while ago, patented these strange little roller buttons. Kind of like, if you can imagine, there was little wheels here, as well as the click buttons. Now, it's not quite sure in the videos, looking at the controller functions, whether they're actually going to be part of the Switch, but it'd be nice to know if they are or not. So concerns for the Switch, I've definitely got some. First one is marketing, because the marketing for the Wii U was atrociously shit. Everyone knows them. The name itself is terrible. It's been ribbed and memed like no end. And they've never ever gotten over that. Most people still think that this is some kind of original Wii add-on screen. And it was highly expensive. Remember how expensive the Wii Fit bloody board was? Most people were still scorned from that, let alone buying a whole new console a little while later. 2 years ago, Nintendo, I think it lost some kind of traction in the UK supplier chain, because what happened is everywhere stopped selling the Wii U, apart from Game and a few independents that still sell Wii U games. And then they pretty much half-priced them as well. And then Mario Kart 8 came out, and everyone wanted one, and nowhere had one. So it was a huge disarray there. So when it comes to Nintendo's marketing, they ain't very good. So when you compare the games, they stack up, man. Splatoon, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Mario Kart 8, Bayonetta 2, and many more. In fact, the Nintendo Wii U has more games that are exclusive and even first-party ones that stack up visually, vividly, gameplay-wise, critics reviews, that is. They are much higher than anything else in terms of the other platforms that are on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Those games stack up. Yeah, most people don't have it because most people don't even know it's a different console. So Nintendo have to get this Switch right. It has to. Otherwise, they are done. Anyway, but go back to other concerns. I mean, the fact that it's a cart controller, not a problem. Cartridge based, absolutely not a problem. When you look at the fact that you can buy a 256 gig micro SD card, storage, not a fucking problem at all. If they're on carts, fine, that's not an issue. Because of course there was a time when what was in a disc and a cartridge was different size. The disc was much bigger storage capacity. Now, of course, carts far exceed that. So that's not an issue at all. Anyone says anything to you, just give them a slap. That's just stupid. Nintendo's online service. Now, anyone who's used the Nintendo Network, anyone who's used Nintendo's online virtual console buying stuff has been scorned time and time and time again. So, what I mean by this, okay, if you had the original Nintendo Wii, and you bought, say, some games off the virtual console, I don't know, it's like Mario Brothers 3, for instance, Zelda, some of the translated games they made to the UK, some really cool stuff that was like really limited releases, Donkey Kong and all that kind of thing. So on their digital releases, you could buy them on the virtual console, and everyone was like, yay! And it wasn't just Nintendo and NES, there was like Mega Drive stuff, there was Neo Geo stuff on there as well. There's some really cool games that came out. And then when it came to buying the Wii U, if you wanted to play them, you had to buy them again. If you wanted to buy them on the Nintendo shop that is on the 3DS, you had to buy them again. So now, when it comes to doing perhaps games that are going to be released digitally, such as the Mario Kart 8 that we saw in the video, perhaps if you want to buy that, despite already owning it, you're going to have to buy it again. So virtual console games that you may have bought 3 or 4 times, you may even still have cartridges around your house as well, you're going to have to buy again. You know, come on. You know, I'm not going to be buying Mario Brothers 3 again. It's just not going to happen. Zelda, I'm not going to buy it for a third, fourth time. It's not going to happen. So, are we going to do this interesting? Are we going to get this right? If I buy the game once digitally, I can then have it in all my digital places. How the next generation other consoles are doing it, and for the digital games you've bought on your 360, many of them are becoming now available on the Xbox One as digital downloads. That is a good thing. Nintendo, we want you to do that. So is this Nintendo's last stand? Is this Nintendo's high noon? I absolutely believe it is. Isn't it exciting? Very much so. All the chips are on the table. They have to be. Nintendo are playing for keeps this time round. Although, of course, they've got games that are on external platforms now. Of course, you have the likes of Pokemon Go out there that has done tremendously well. Had that stock price skyrocketed, especially again after Nintendo announced that it was going to release a Super Mario title on iOS onto the Apple platform. Stocks went through the roof again. So Nintendo are riding high, and they have to be. The exciting times are there. But how are you hesitant? Because hell, I know I am. But this is an exciting time to be a Nintendo fan. This is an exciting time to be a gamer. So let's see what comes forth from the wounds of the Wii U to hopefully the Sky World that potentially could be the Nintendo Switch. Until next time, I'm Christian Lander. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I shall see you very soon.